testimony with you guys. I became an atheist at the age of 13. I completely rejected God, and I rejected Jesus and everything that it stood for. And I became involved in drugs. And I started involving myself with a lot of New Age and Buddhism, and just beliefs that really concentrated on the self. And I started developing this selfish belief that only I mattered and everything around me didn't. I started rejecting my parents and my family life, and just hanging out in the streets and getting involved with people I never thought I would even talk to. And my whole teenage years, from 13 until I was 23, really just developed into a really dark place, without hope and without any faith in anything. But in the midst of all that, I always was seeking for some kind of truth. And now that I'm in Christ, I realize that it was love that I was really seeking. And even when I would go to church, the Catholic Church, or any kind of godly event, I would not receive anything because my heart was just turned to stone, and I wouldn't want to open myself to God. And so in my high school years, ironically, I started falling in love with a Christian girl. I didn't understand it at all, because I stood for everything that was opposite of what she believed in. And I was really confused at that point, because I didn't understand that. But I knew that she had something good to offer. She had a love and an understanding that I just couldn't understand myself. And time passed by, and I pursued, but she resisted. I was 23. I remember that she came to a point where she couldn't be associated with me anymore, because we were like oil and water. We couldn't meet at that place of belief. So I remember that for my birthday, she gave me a Bible, and I remember being so infuriated and so angry and just so confused by what she had just done. And it was pretty much her saying to me that was the last time we would ever pretty much be acquainted. So I remember going into my room and throwing the Bible under my bed. And I remember that about 6 or 7 months passed by, and my life just got at its darkest. I didn't have hope in anything anymore, and I started becoming just hopeless of everything in life. I didn't feel like I had purpose anymore. And I started becoming gradually suicidal. And one day I decided to clean my room by hand. I remember that I found the Bible under my bed. And I remember getting it out of under the bed and looking at it and being so confused of why that thing was in my room. And I decided to leave it on top of one of my drawers, and it stayed there for about a week. And one morning, before I was leaving to work, I decided to pick that Bible up and take it with me to work. And I carried it in my backpack backpack, and mind you, I was still an extreme atheist. I still hated the fact of God existing. And I still hated the fact of Jesus existing. And I was carrying this Bible with me in my backpack for a week. And at the end of that week, I knew that I felt in my heart. I was the end of my rope, and I was the bottom of my bell. I couldn't move on. And I remember at work, I used to work where there's mountains. And I sat in my car with such hopelessness and darkness over me. And the only thing that I could reach out was that Bible. And I remember just cracking it open, just randomly. And the first thing it opened to was a book in the Bible called Matthew. The title of that chapter was The Sermon on the Mount. And when I read this, I didn't understand it, but it already felt soothing to me. And I read the first words that Jesus spoke to the masses, and that was, "Blessed are those who are poor and realize the need for Him, which is God." And at that point, I remember I felt God's presence for the first time inside that little truck. It was covering me. And it was from one instant of being completely faithless into feeling God touch me. That's when I felt that He was alive, and He was real, and that He just touched my life, and He brought His life into my heart. I remember feeling like my new life literally being born. It didn't happen. I realized that it didn't happen at a church service. It didn't happen in a building like a church. It happened in the middle of nowhere. And I realized now that God loved me so much that He decided to meet me where I was in the darkest place. I just love Him so much.